Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. So we'll start the show talking about Luis Severino, who is getting a big contract, a contract extension with the New York Yankees. He's got a 4-year, $40 million extension, which is very team-friendly because you look at what the Yankees have to do. They're going to have to sign Aaron Judge. They're going to have to sign Gleyber Torres. They're going to have to sign Miguel Andujar. And they're going to have to sign Gary Sanchez. So, having Luis Severino take this team-friendly deal was really, really, really huge for the Yankees. I mean, you're looking at all the guys they have to sign. Severino, remember he came up in 2015, had a pretty good year that year. 2016, he was not good at all. 2017-18, really, really good. Won 19 games last year. Did an outstanding job for them. So, I mean, it really, really made sense for them to go out there and re-sign Luis Severino.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it. And it's pretty much a bargain what you're going to get out of him. It's going to be $10 million a year pretty much. It's a steal. And with, having so many guys with the Judge and Gary, Gleyber, and Duhart, with all these guys that are going to have to get paid in a couple years, it's good to know that Severino will take that pay cut. You hope that all of them, the rest of them do too. But, in a perfect world, I mean, you wish that happens, but, we won't know. But hopefully he figured out his second half problems. I know he started tipping pitches. He said he went on a diet, lost 10 to 15 pounds, so he said he's in much better shape than he was. So hopefully that's a good sign that there's no slowdown coming back from that All-Star break, which, kind of started his big downfall last year. But, I'm excited to have him back for another 4 years, and hopefully, because he'll go to his first year of free agency, hopefully he'll end up saying he'll hopefully sign another contract with us.
Yeah, he is the ace of this staff. That is pretty clear. I mean, he's been the ace since 2017. I mean, when he came in, he was a question mark when he started the 2017 season, but since then, he has clearly been the ace of the staff with Tanaka behind him, and you got Happ now and Paxton and CeCe, but he's clearly the ace of the staff. And we all remember that playoff game in 2017 where he didn't pitch well at all, and then he comes in. Does an outstanding. He comes out next year and does the next year in 2018. He does an outstanding job. First half of the year was phenomenal for him. So I'm really, really excited what Luis Severino can do for this team in the future.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it should be really, really exciting. So we'll talk about some players, Machado and Harper, who have not gotten deals yet, and that's been really really big for them. I mean, you look at Machado and Harper. I mean, they were looking at like over $250 million, and right now they're sitting there with no team. And so and I think JD Martinez was the big reason this happened. I mean, that was the huge reason. This year he had last year, he didn't get a huge contract, but the year he had last year, he waited, had the huge year. And I think this is forcing teams not to have him be as good, not to give Harper, Machado the big money, because you have so many bad contracts in baseball. Now you're not going to get as many bad contracts now with these owners waiting. Even though the players are really angry about this, you have a lot of owners that are waiting. They don't want to give these players these big deals, and that's why Machado and Harper are not on teams yet, and also Kimbrel and Keuchel are not on teams yet either.
Yeah, it's something that the MLB and the players are going to have to talk about, because it's crazy that they're still sitting here in spring training period that started almost a week ago with the pitchers and catchers reporting almost a week ago. It's something you got to fix. But again, Machado, Padres just offered him 8-year, $240 million contract. That's the best he's going to get. If it's all about the money, that's your best deal you're going to get. Now, as far as I know, Bryce Harper's 10 years, $300 million with the Nationals is still on the table for him, too, of what I've heard. So, if it's about money for these two, I know for Bryce, I know he doesn't really want to go back to Washington, but if all you care about the money, then that's the place to go, And for Machado, I know San Diego, it's not going to be as bad as Baltimore, but they're still not a very good team. So, if it's all about the money, then I know both those guys don't want to go to those two teams, but it may end up happening. I know the Phillies have been quiet, have talked about Machado and all that, but I haven't heard much about them and the White Sox, so it's crazy to think about. And you want to go to Kimbrel and Keuchel? I haven't heard any news on them. All I've heard of the Red Sox are unwilling to sign Kimbrel and Keuchel, I have no leads about. So it's pretty crazy to think about. And are these guys? And I'm at the point where are these guys even going to sign somewhere by opening day at this point? It's been since they opened it up. Just like the first week of November free agency, or the second, third week in February. It's crazy, and it's not. I don't think it's good for baseball.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's really bad for baseball. I mean, NFL free agency, NBA free agency. I mean, those are huge times a year. You go into March with NFL free agency. Usually, guys are on teams within a day or two. Yeah. NBA free agency, usually within a week or two. Now, Harper and Machado have been free agents since December, and 2 months later they're not even on teams. It's crazy, and this is where I think interest in baseball is really going down. Seeing that you're waiting for free agents to be signed, I think this really hurts baseball in a huge way.
Oh, it definitely will, because it's two of the biggest superstars are still sitting out there free agents, and they're not at camp, and and they may not right now, it's like, will they even be signed by opening day? Because there's really no leads. Or do you have leads, but it doesn't seem like they want the teams that are offering them. At this point, you're probably gonna, they may have to deal with it. Unless they really want a slim deal with somebody, like maybe I don't know if the Yankees swoop in to get Machado or something, but it's crazy, and it's not good for the baseball. It's really not, knowing that your two superstars have been on the market for almost 3 months.
Yeah, it's awful for baseball. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you don't want it's just awful for the sport. So we'll wrap up our baseball talk talking about CC Sabathia, and he's really had a phenomenal career. He's retiring this year, and he had a phenomenal career for the Yankees. I mean, he started with the Indians first 8.5 years of his career, and then he had that one stretch with the Brewers, got into the playoffs, then became a free agent sign with the Yankees. And we'll always remember he was on that 2009 team. He pitched Game 5 of the ALDS in 2012. He pitched Game 5 of that series, so he was he was outstanding for the Yankees those 4 years. Kind of fell off from 2013 to 2016, but reinvented himself in 2017, and then had a decent 2018 season too. This will be his last season. Well deserved. I think he's a Hall of Famer. This is well deserved for CC Sabathia.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him next year. He's gonna be a solid 5 for this rotation, and I think he's definitely be a Hall of Famer. He had a great couple years to start out with the Yankees, and then he lost his power in that fastball. It wasn't in the mid to high upper 90s anymore. It's more in the lower 90s now, high 80s, and he's learned to throw his off speed more and lean to his off speed. So, and it's really helped him after those couple of years where he was getting absolutely destroyed. I remember going to the game and he gave up 11 runs in the first inning. He reinvented himself, and it's been good for him, because of course he doesn't look like his old self, but he actually looks he's able to pitch now, and I'm confident when he goes out there on the mound that he can get us a win. A couple years ago I was not very happy, or I was not confident that he would get us a win.
Oh, not at all. Now you know that he may not give you a ton of innings, but he definitely can get you wins.
Yeah, and it's and for this rotation, having a good fit, having that decent 4th or 5th guy, is really could be a huge difference for you, for a guy that's used to be an ace. So it's really key for this team, and and hopefully he goes out there and has one great last season. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I know last couple of years he's had some DL stints, so hopefully he can stay healthy this year.
Absolutely, I'm really hoping for that too. And another thing is, before we move on to football, we'll give our predictions of 4 free agents where they end up. My prediction for Bryce Harper is the Phillies. What's your prediction for Bryce Harper, where he ends up?
Mine, I think it will be the Phillies. I think it'll be the Phillies. But at this point, with the Nationals maybe still having their offer, I wouldn't maybe be surprised if I don't know, but I'm leaning towards the Phillies.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely leaning towards the Phillies. For Machado, you never know. It could be the White Sox, Padres, or Yankees, but I'm gonna go with the White Sox.
I think I am gonna go with the Padres. I think he'll lean. I think he'll go with San Diego, because I think he's more about the money right now, and I think maybe if the White Sox or Yankees come back with something better, because the White Sox really aren't a great team. Yankees are, of course the Yankees are gonna be a contender this year, but I feel like maybe San Diego seems like they're pushing for him a lot, and I feel like he will end up there.
Yeah,
he'll end up there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see where he ends up. Dallas Keuchel.
I have no leads.
I think he comes back to Houston on a short deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at this point, but I haven't heard anything on him. So yeah, I'll say Houston too.
Yeah, and we got Craig Kimbrell. I think he goes back to Boston on a short deal.
You do? I've heard the Red Sox are unwilling to negotiate with him anymore. So because he wants 6 figures, so for me, going to who needs a bullpen, I think at this point, wouldn't it be I don't think he goes back to Boston. I think he'll go anywhere but Boston, and I'll just throw it out there, saying maybe the Phillies or something, because it seems like they're spending the most money. I'm just gonna throw it out and say Phillies. I've heard much on Greg Kimbrell. I heard maybe a little bit of the Dodgers, but they have Jansen, so it was a little weird. But I'll go with maybe the Phillies.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where Kimbrell ends up going. That'll be big in the AL East race, because if the Sox get Kimbrell back, they probably will still be right there close to the Yankees. If they don't, I think the Yankees are clearly the favorite.
Oh yeah, they will, especially that back bullpen. That the Yankees added Ottavino. They lost Robertson, but that's still a great back of the bullpen, and I think it could be even better than it was last year. I really like Ottavino. It's gonna be he's a huge addition to this team, and really makes his back end at this point like 5 times better than Boston's, which end of the game I'd take Yankees all day over the Boston's.
Definitely in the bullpen, absolutely. Yeah. But if Kimbrell comes back, it closes the gap, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely will, because Kimbrell's one of the top 5 closers in the game right now.
So we'll transition over to the NFL, and we'll start with Antonio Brown, who wants out of Pittsburgh, and it's now official that he wants out of Pittsburgh. I mean, this all stemmed from all the Steeler drama stemmed from training camp with Le'Veon Bell. Then it went to the Week 17 with Antonio Brown skipping the team's walkthrough, then being inactive for Week 17, now wanting out. And look at the odds. The teams with the best odds right now, it's the Cardinals, then the 49ers, then the Dolphins, Packers, Colts, Raiders. Now teams don't have great odds. The Jets, the Redskins, the Browns, the Bills, the Ravens. It'd probably be crazy if it goes to the Ravens, Cowboys, and Patriots. But I think one of the best fits are going to be the 49ers. He's with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's with Kyle Shanahan. He's got George Kittle there, too, as a tight end. I think that could be a really good fit for him. Also, the Packers, putting him with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. That would be a really good fit. Colts, too. The Colts get him. That would be, him and T.Y. Hilton, that would be big. And then even if we went to the Jets with Sam Darnold, that would be really, really big.
Yeah, I see Antonio probably going to a team like San Fran. It seems like that's the place he wants to be. We've seen on social media. That seems like the place. I think if he does go to the AFC, it's going to be like the Steelers are really going to want a big deal, like a huge deal for them, which, I wouldn't blame him. Especially if I don't see any chance of him going to the Ravens or Patriots. But, I feel like it's going to be an NFC team. I'd be interested to see him and Rodgers together. That'd kind of be an interest, because both of them kind of have, like bigger ego kind of thing, It'd be interesting if Rodgers doesn't give him. I would think Rodgers gives him touches, but, like there's one game where Brown only gets 1 or 2 catches, with both of them kind of having, the egos. They'd be kind of interesting to see, but that would really help out Rodgers. But I think the fit for him is 49ers. I think, and that would
definitely be his best fit in my opinion. Absolutely, absolutely. So, looking at some other NFL news, staying in the NFC North, we're looking at Joe Flacco being traded to the Baltimore Ravens. No, traded to the Denver Broncos for a 4th-round pick. And the Ravens have to still eat $16 million in cap room for this move. But I think it's going to depend on if Emmanuel Sanders gets healthy. If Cortland Sutton's a pretty good number 2, you got Phillip Lindsay. I think this move, though, there's no way they're better than Kansas City making this move, and they're probably not even better than the Chargers, even with Phillip Rivers aging. Because Joe Flacco, remember, he started his career, he won 10 playoff games in Baltimore, but once that team started to break up, he started to regress. He did have that good year in 2014 where he got the Ravens in the divisional round of the playoffs, and obviously Harmon had the interception at the end of the game. But he started to regress the last 3 years, and I think it's an upgrade over Case Keenum, but not that big of an upgrade over him. And I still think they're the third best team in the AFC West.
Yeah, they're definitely still the third best team in the AFC West. Defensively though, for Flacco, he's not going to need too many high-scoring games, most likely with how good that defense is. So I wouldn't be surprised they steal a couple of games with their defense, but they need weapons with Sutton, Lindsey, and we'll see what happens with Sanders when he comes back from that torn Achilles. But it is an upgrade from Case Keenum, who is getting paid $18 million a year, which is crazy. But for Denver, I think this is going to turn into one of those where I think he turns into another mentor with Denver draft another. I think Denver should go out and draft a quarterback and let Flacco mentor him either next year or this upcoming year or the year after, and kind of do the same thing what they did in Baltimore, because John Elway, since Peyton Manning, really has not hit on the quarterbacks, and that's of course a huge thing for football. You got to be able to have a good quarterback. So we'll see what happens, but I think for Denver, it's not the worst thing in the world because you don't have to pay. You're not paying them that much. Ravens are paying most of it, so you get a veteran quarterback. Not top of the game anymore, but you're still getting a good quarterback.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you're looking for the Ravens now. They're going to go with Lamar Jackson. I mean, the offense for Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's been figured out. I mean, I think teams have figured out what Lamar Jackson can do, what the Ravens can do now. Lamar Jackson is going to have to become a pocket passer. The only way he's going to succeed consistently in this league is if he becomes a pocket passer. If he doesn't, he's not going to succeed in this league at all. I mean, he's got to be able to become a pocket passer.
Oh, yeah. There's no way. Because you saw the second time that in that playoff game that the Chargers figured out that run, the RPO, and they shut it down pretty well for most, And also when when Baltimore does get behind in the game, especially late in the third, fourth quarter, he's going to have to become a pocket passer when you're losing. Because you're not going to be able to run the ball as much. So, he took some big hits. He's not a big slider. We've seen what happens when a quarterback doesn't slide. RG3, which is which is now right now. I don't know if they'll resign him, but is the backup to Lamar. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's got to become a pocket passer, or it's going to be a pretty short career for him.
Oh yeah, because he can't be running around sliding, because it's a really short career. If you're just running around sliding, your career is going to be really, really short.
Oh yeah, especially at 5'9".
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy, and I mean, the Ravens have some big decisions with C.J. Mosley, but they definitely they're going to go with Lamar Jackson this year. Yeah. So we'll stay in the AFC North and talk about Kareem Hunt. He is now going to the. He has now been signed by the Cleveland Browns. John Dorsey, the GM, was in Kansas City. I think this was the big reason why they signed Kareem Hunt, gave him a second chance. I don't think he deserves a second chance, but I think the biggest reason he got the second chance because of John Dorsey being the GM there.
Yeah, I don't really think he deserves it, for what he did. It's, and especially it's too quick. It's too quick. It happened, just over 2 months ago. The video came out and all that, and he's going to be suspended most likely. I'd say probably around at least 12 games. I think, maybe longer. I don't know, but if he is, when he does come back, though, this is going to be a really, really good team with Chubb, Landry, Baker, one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks right now. Had a great rookie season. So this could be a really, really good team when he gets back. But, especially in the playoffs, this could, they get like a wild card spot. They could be very dangerous at that 5 or 6 spot.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it depends. It depends. Yeah, him and Nick Chubb could be a really, really good running game, but we don't know how long Kareem Hunt's going to be suspended for.
Yeah, we don't. And I'd say at least 12 games. It may be more. It may be. Who knows? It could be maybe a season. I don't know when this is all gonna. We find this out or whatever. But this is gonna be a really, really good offense. Their defense wasn't bad, but they can get a couple more pieces on defense. They're younger with Peppers and Myles Garrett, but the Browns, I think took a step up, last year, and it's kind of like, well, now you signed Hunt, and people are on the fence about it. It's like, well, we'll see. But again, if it turns out that he can play, end of the season playoffs, it's a really good team right there in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their talent now with Jarvis Landry. They got a good offensive line, Baker Mayfield, now Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. You keep losing, you keep getting all the good players.
Yeah. So, then they've done better drafting lately. They hadn't had the success of drafting lately, but it looks like they finally turned a corner on that, and they're, it could be, I think it depends on how long Kareem Hunt's out, but this in a wide open NFC North division, if most likely when Pitt loses Bell and Brown, it's going to be wide open, this division. So it could be anybody's game. So Cleveland may be able to take it,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It'll be really interesting. But they could. I mean, the AFC North is wide open. You have Baltimore. You don't know if they're going to how teams are going to defend their offense. You have the Browns. That's still a question mark at head coach. Is Baker Mayfield going to have a sophomore slump? And then you got the Steelers losing Antonio Brown and probably going to lose Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. So, and even though they didn't have Le'Veon Bell all year this year, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the AFC North because it's pretty wide open right now.
Oh, it is. Bengals I think are going to be in the basement. Baltimore, we'll see what happens with Lamar now running the show now for a whole season. Pitt, we'll see what happens. They're still going to be Pitt's still going to be good. With still Jane Connor and Juju, it'd still be a good team. We'll see how Big Ben, with age, we'll see how he does. But it is wide open, and you got Cleveland, who really started to get better after they fired Hugh Jackson. They really got better towards the end of that season. So I think right now, for me, I'll take Cleveland to win this division. If you ask me right now.
I would probably. It's tough to tell right now. Tough to tell in February who's going to win the division. That's tough to tell. So we'll talk a little bit of local football, and the Patriots are expected to land the franchise tag on Trey Flowers, who has been really good for the Patriots the last couple of years. Has gotten some huge plays, gotten some huge sacks. He's been really, really productive for this team the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's really their only pass rusher that we on the line. Our linebackers did a great job in the postseason at that, but you lose Trey Flowers, we don't have a pass rusher right now. So if we lose him, so I think it's really the only guy really when I was going through that you could actually franchise tag. I don't know what they'll do with Gostkowski. They could re-sign him, but he hasn't been. He used to be very he used to be dead on, and since that Denver game and the AFC Championship game, he hasn't been automatic like he used to. So we'll find out. But Trey Flowers, I think the only guy you could really franchise tag right now, and hopefully you go out and draft another D end, or you go out and get a wide receiver. So I hopefully they do resign him, and he'll be here for a couple more years because we need him.
Oh yeah, you do. You definitely need him on the defensive line. The Giants are going to give the franchise tag to Landon Collins, and he's a great tackler, really good tackler. I mean, the one issue with him is though in coverage. You saw times this year George Kittle had a huge game against him. Jack Cohen had a huge game against him. He struggles in coverage, but I mean, he's just a great tackling, really good tackling safety. Not a complete safety like Derwin James or Jamal Adams, but he's a really good tackling safety. As a Giants fan, I'm happy to have him. He's probably was the best defensive player on the team last year. That shows you how bad their defense was. He was, but still, I mean, he was probably one of their best defensive players. And I think he needed to. I mean, they didn't want to sign him long term. They probably want to slap him with the franchise tag.
Yeah, he's a great tackler. And coverage, the coverage can come. He's been in the league for 4 years now, so I know it's been a while, but I think he can learn as a coverage guy. I think he can learn how to be better in coverage. And I think hopefully in the offseason that's what he's mostly working on. Hopefully, for his game, because he definitely wants a long-term deal if it's with the Giants or somebody else that the Giants don't want him. But, he's great in the open field tackling. He's great generally in tackling. But, that coverage has got to get better. And I feel like, he will get better coverage. And it will really help you guys out, I think, defensively, because you guys were not great defensively, especially in the secondary.
He's definitely going to have to figure out how to cover this year, because if he doesn't, he probably isn't going to get a long-term deal.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, yeah.
So we'll talk about some of the other free agents out there now. We'll start with DeMarcus Lawrence of the Dallas Cowboys. You have till March 5th to give a guy the franchise tag, and right now, DeMarcus Lawrence, he was franchise tags. He got the franchise tag last year by the Cowboys. There's a chance he might get it this year by the Cowboys as well. The Cowboys don't want to give him a long-term deal, but I think this is the guy the Cowboys have to sign long-term and give Dak a team-friendly deal, but we'll see what ends up happening there.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's one of their best defensive players, arguably probably their best one. So I think you have to give him a long-term deal. I don't know why I don't know why you wouldn't give him a long-term deal. He's great, He's a great pass rusher. He's your best defensive player. And I think if the Cowboys want to get better, they got to make sure that you get your best defensive player back on your team next year. You have to. So hopefully they do find a long-term deal for him. But you never really know with Jerry Jones though, being the GM. You don't.
Yep. I'm hearing rumors that the Steelers might transition tag Le'Veon Bell, which means the team can give him an offer, but if the Steelers match that offer, the Steelers would get him. But I don't think the Steelers are going to match the offer a team gives them. Also, they could just like with Antonio Brown, they might be able to trade Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I could see. I could see that. Yeah, and match it and just trade him so you actually can get something for Le'Veon instead of just let him walk, because you can get pretty good pieces for Le'Veon Bell, and if they get good, and you're going to get good pieces for Antonio Brown. So the Steelers could start. I know Steelers fans don't probably want to hear this, but I know you still got Big Ben and all that, but you could start looking towards the future if you do match Le'Veon's offer. Trade him. You could get good draft picks, I think. So especially if you trade him if you trade Brown to the Niners, you're going to get some good draft picks right there for this year. So I think Steelers could start looking for the future with this.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to start. They're definitely going to have to start soon. I mean, because looking at the way it is with losing Bell and Brown, they got to start. They got to start moving towards that. Another player eligible for the franchise tag was Jadeveon Clowney, and we'll see what ends up happening here. He's a free. He got the 5th-year option last year. We'll see what the Texans do with him.
Yeah, I think he's another guy that with him and Watt, it's like they're two great guys off the edge, two of the best of the game. If you're the Texans, you would really love to keep them, but again, I think you got to. I think they should franchise tag him, of course, but again, that would he's such a great pass rusher. I know he's kind of been banged. Both of them, him and Watt, have been banged up, but still, you would lose one of the best pass rushers in the game. I think if you let him walk.
Yeah, I would agree there. So we also look at Dee Ford. We'll see what the Chiefs do there, if they let him walk or not. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, their defense hasn't been great. Do you want to just kind of, with the new D coordinator, you kind of want to just start this over on defense, or you want to keep a couple of guys? This one is interesting. I would say, right now, I think they do franchise tag him, but it'll be very interesting to see. I don't, with how bad their defense was last year, I don't know what he's, looking for this offseason for a long-term deal. We'll find out, but it is interesting. I think they will, because he's one of their better defensive players, which I think you're going to need next year, because they really need to reamp that defense, and I think you really want Dee Ford back in that secondary.
Yeah, I would agree there. I would definitely agree. Yeah, you definitely want him back because not in the secondary. He's an outside linebacker getting pressure on the quarterback. Frank Clark's another one. He really stepped up for the Seahawks the last couple of years. I mean, I think they're all in that handful of guys who are eligible to get franchise tags. We'll see what the Seahawks do, because they're probably going to let Earl Thomas walk, seeing what happens. They'll definitely let Earl Thomas walk. We'll see if they franchise Frank Clark.
Yeah, no, I think they do. I think they will franchise tag him. Well, I know, letting Thomas walk, you don't have to worry, you're not gonna have to pay Earl Thomas a big contract. So, they will have some salary cap right there for the Seahawks, but I think they will franchise tag him, and Seattle, that defense is still pretty good. They're decent, but we'll find out, but I think they do franchise tag him.
Yes, another interesting one is Anthony Barr. I mean, he might end up going to free agency. He's really good against the run, but not great against the pass. I think this is a guy. I've heard the Vikings are not going to franchise tag him. They are going to let him go into free agency. So we'll see where he ends up going. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and a guy, be very, see who needs a pass rusher right now off the top of my head. I would say Patriot, but I know we don't have the cap space for Barr right now. But Vikings he's pretty good. I think they'll lose. I think they'll miss him a little bit, but I think they'll be able to fill that piece back with somebody. Either in the draft or free agency. But I'm sure I don't really know who else Vikings have on the free agent, or who will turn in free agent off my top of my head right now. So I don't know who else they would franchise, or I don't know who else that they have for a franchise tag. But they may miss them a little bit, but I think it's all right. I think they'll be okay if they lose them. I don't think that it won't be a huge loss for Minnesota.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, it wouldn't be a huge loss because they have Everson Griffin. Sheldon Richardson's a free agent. They got Harrison Smith. They got Xavier Rhodes. They have enough, and Eric Kendricks is a linebacker. They have enough players on that defense where it wouldn't be a huge loss for the Vikings. Other guys they're probably going to get. Stephen Gostkowski's going to get the franchise tag. You're probably happy about that.
You think? Yeah. You think? Yeah, he'll get. Yeah.
He can't give two both players, so it's probably going to be Trey Flowers. We'll see what happens with Stephen Gostkowski in the offseason. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about Gostkowski. He hasn't been on Mac as he used to be. We'll find out, but I don't know if they'll go younger here like they did with they got rid of Vinatieri for Gostkowski when he got up there in age. We'll see what happens, but I'd rather have Flowers than Gostkowski. I think you could find another kicker. I'd be okay with that. Rather have Flowers.
Yeah. We'll see what the Patriots end up doing there. So we'll now move on to some NBA talk, and we'll start with the All-Star game, which was what the All-Star game is. They don't play much defense. I mean, Team LeBron beat Team Giannis in that game. I mean, we'll see what ends up. That All-Star. I mean, the All-Star game didn't have much defense to it. Team LeBron won. Kevin Durant won the MVP. Did you watch most of the All-Star game? Or?
Yeah, I watched some of it. It's kind of tough just kind of watching guys lob it to, I'd rather watch like a good game with some defense into it because I know some people love all the donking that they do in the three-point shooting, but it's kind of like, well, to me, I don't know. I kind of get bored of it. It's like, well, because it's kind of, you just come down the floor and it's like, oh, they're just going to shoot another three and it's going to go in. It's, I'd rather see some defense, but I guess it was a pretty good game. Team LeBron came back, but it's the All-Star game, It's not, I don't get too excited for too many All-Star games,
No, they don't really play defense. They're just pretty much kind of going through the motions. It's not that exciting at all.
Yeah, it's not. And I know why. And I know the players don't want to get hurt or anything, but it's like, can you try to at least play some besides the final 3 minutes? Can you at least try to play a little bit more to make it a little, to make it a little bit more interesting? But yeah, I don't know if that will ever happen.
I'm not sure if that would ever happen either. I mean, it's just crazy. They probably won't. Until the fourth quarter, that's pretty much when they play defense. Yeah. So we'll start going over our midseason MVP, and mine right now it's between Giannis to me and Harden, but I would go with Harden right now. I mean Harden he's averaging over 36 points a game, and I think Chris Paul and Eric Gordon have fallen off. And the thing is that James Harden is pretty much carrying that team. I mean, he's handling the ball. He's playing a lot of ISO ball, but he's handling the ball. He's pretty much carrying the team right now. Where Giannis has been really good too, but he still doesn't have that jump shot that Harden has. So I probably take Harden as my MVP right now.
Yeah, I have Antetokounmpo because right now they do have the best record in the NBA at 43-14. He's averaging 27 points a game, 13 rebounds. He pretty much does it all besides that jump shot, which if he can get one, it'll make him so versatile, and he's already so good. And he's young too, so he's good. And I know it's been a big help this year that Brogdon stepped up. Chris Middleton, who was in the All-Star game, that's really helped him, I think, as well, knowing that those two guys, he's got those two guys with him. But I think with the best record right now in the league, I think, right now I got to pick Giannis.
Yeah, it's definitely close between it's really really close between those two. But you have a good point with Giannis, with them having the best record in the league, and with his length. If he develops a jump shot, he's going to be a top 5 player easily.
Oh yeah, he's 6'8". He can handle a basketball. He's so good on the driving. He's a great dunker. Yeah, it's pretty much the only thing in the game he's missing right now is his jump shot, and so it's the one thing holding him back. And we'll see if he's ever going to be able to get that jump shot. I hope, I know he's working on it and all that, but yeah, it's pretty crazy of the talent that he is at 6'8", 6'9", and what they're able to not just him, but like the Durants and LeBrons in the world at that height, and just so athletic and just can do it all. It's crazy.
Yes, definitely. So we'll go over our most disappointing teams and most surprising teams. First, we'll go over our most surprising teams. And my first team is the Sacramento Kings. With the way De'Aaron Fox has played in his second year, the way Buddy Hield has played in his third year, and then they train for Harrison Barnes. Right now, the 8th seed in the Western Conference. I mean, they've been a huge surprise. I mean, a lot of people thought they'd win maybe 25 games this year, and now they've won a
30, 27.
Over 30 games this year. So I mean, they've done a really, really good job. The Kings. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what ends up happening with them. But I mean, in the playoffs, imagine them playing DeMarcus Cousins in the playoffs. That's gonna be really cool to see.
Yeah, but I don't even care that we get swept by the Warriors. It'd be great to go to be in the playoffs. I know we'd get swept by the Golden State, but yeah, I guess I like Cousins when he's on Sacramento, but kind of disappointed he wanted to leave. But yeah, they're my surprise team so far as well. Just the way Fox, I think he should win Most Improved Player of the Year. He's really turned into something special. I really love, and there's so many great point guards in this league, and I think he's right. I think he's with another year or two, I think he'll really stand out with the best, which I'm really excited about. And Buddy Hield's really worked on this summer shooting basketball. He's gotten much better. Harrison Barnes was a good pickup, I think. A little expensive, he's a little bit expensive, but a good pickup. Bagley, I love his potential. I love the potential of this team. This seems to be really, hopefully this team that couple of years is going to just keep getting better and better. They play their strength of being so young. They play so up tempo. They play so fast. Defensively, they're not great, but they've been able to put up points that they can get away with it some nights.
Oh yeah, definitely. And my other surprise team is the Nets. The way D'Angelo Russell has played, the way Karis LeVert, he's been out, but he's back. Joe Harris, Jared Allen. I mean, I think Kenny Atkinson has done a phenomenal job with that team. Absolutely phenomenal. They weren't expected to be good at all this year, but with this young team, Kenny Atkinson's done a great job, and they're in the sixth spot in the East right now.
Yeah, they was close between them and the Nuggets. I take the Nuggets because they're 39-18. Now, yeah, people had them in the playoffs, but I don't think people at this point had them only sitting 2 games back of the Warriors in second place at 39-18. Nikola Jokic has been playing. He's been playing very well. Jamal Murray, Isaiah Thomas just came back for him. So this is a really, really good team. I'm very curious to see what they do, how much damage they do in the playoffs. If they keep hanging around that 2 line, it would really help. But I really, I think they've done. The team's done a really, really good job right now. Mike Malone's done a great job with this team, and right now, I don't know. They don't have enough to beat the Warriors, though. That's their problem. They don't have that superstar to beat the Warriors. They don't have those couple guys.
Not at all. But the job that the job Mike Malone has done has been phenomenal. I mean, where that team has been and where it is now. I mean, with Jamal Murray and the growth of Jokic and Murray, that's pretty great. That's great for that team.
Yeah, that's a great duo. That's one of the great young duos right now we have in the game.
Oh, absolutely. So we're gonna go to our most disappointing teams. I think one of them's pretty obvious with the Lakers. I mean, when you get LeBron James, you think you're going to go to the playoffs. But now with Kyle Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma's had a really good year scoring, but he's not as good defensively. Brandon Ingram is completely overrated. No sense of urgency there. I mean, and Lonzo Ball, he's got to learn how to be a scorer. The point guards of Jason Kidd, John Stockton, and Steve Nash, those are over. You got to be able to score as a point guard, and that's the problem with Lonzo Ball. And if he doesn't become a scorer, he won't even be a franchise player. He won't even be an above average player if he doesn't learn how to score. So that's been a big problem for the Lakers so far this year. And my other disappointing team is the Pelicans. The whole Anthony Davis saga is a complete mess for that team. It's been a complete disaster there in New Orleans. I mean, they picked up Julius Randle and they had Jrue Holiday to try to go back to the playoffs. And last year they got to the conference semifinals, but this year has been a complete disaster. They're behind the Suns. Outside of the Suns, they're the worst team in the Western Conference. And this season has been a complete disaster for the Pelicans.
Oh yeah, it's been bad for the Pelicans. I'm also with the Lakers as the most disappointing. With LeBron, you have the best player in the world, and you're one guy. I know he's been hurt. I know you lost Rajon Rondo. I know Lonzo Ball, and and I'm with you with Lonzo. He cannot shoot a basketball. He's not good, and I think in this day and age, when you're not that, if you really can't score, guys are kind of gonna back off a little bit, especially you have a guy like LeBron and maybe help out more, on a LeBron. So, I don't know if he'll ever be able to get that jump shot. I hate to say this, but like with his dad, I'm kind of not even really cheering for him. I kind of hope that he's not great because of his dad, but they've been disappointed. And Ingram, yeah, he's not great. I remember watching him when they had Alonzo and Ball out. He was bringing up the basketball and they're down 20 points, and it's kind of like, they're not going 100%. They're not. They was not really set. And what you said, there wasn't sense of urgency. He was not trying to get the team back in it. He was kind of just, they were kind of playing like it was a close game. So he hasn't been great. And my second one, I gotta go with the Warriors. I know they just lost.
Warriors, come on.
I mean the Wizards.
Wizards, gotcha.
Sorry, I mean the Wizards. I know they got rid of Otto Porter. Yeah, they were in the playoffs. Last couple of years, I know they lost John Wall. Bradley Beal's still a great player. I'm kind of they're 10 games under 500 now in the terrible Eastern Conference. For the final 3 teams in the Eastern Conference are going to be able to be above 500. So I think the Wizards for me have been my disappointing team. And it was their start too. They started out like 2 or 15. They started out very, very poor, and it's kind of just they really haven't got much better, I think. And I thought they could be a 7 or 8 seed, but not really looking like it. It won't look like it.
No, because with John Wall out for the year, they're not going. They definitely won't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we're now going to go to our NBA Finals prediction, and the West is pretty obvious with the Warriors. You're not beating Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins. You're not beating any of those. You're not beating that team. They're going to get to their 4th finals in 5. They're going to get their 5th consecutive. They're going to get their 5th consecutive NBA finals, and then probably win their 4th championship in 5 years. That's pretty obvious. But then they're 3rd in a row. But in the Eastern Conference, it's pretty wide open with the Bucks, with the Sixers, with the Raptors, and with the Celtics. And here's the thing with the Bucks is good starting 5: Eric Bledsoe, Giannis. You got Brogdon, you got Middleton, and Brook Lopez, decent center. And the Sixers, you got a great starting, probably the best starting 5 with Simmons, Redick, Butler, Embiid, and Harris. And then you got but they have no bench, which is the difference between a team like the Bucks who got Mirotic in the trade deadline, so that adds depth. And then you got the Raptors who have the best player in the East with Kawhi Leonard, and they got Marc Gasol in the trade deadline, so that improves their bench. And they got the Celtics, who I'm not that high on this year, with Kyrie Irving, who kind of seemingly wants out of Boston, and a team where it was expected to be better than they are, but really doesn't have that second player that has really stepped up. So factoring all those things in it with depth and starting 5 and best player, I'm going to take the Bucks as my team to go to the NBA Finals in the East. I'm going to go Warriors and Bucks in the East, and Warriors and Bucks in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely take the Warriors. Just adding Cousins, they'll keep in Durant, Thompson, Curry. As long as they all stay healthy, they'll win it. They'll definitely win the West with no question. In the East, I got the Celtics. I love Brad Stevens. I think he's a great coach. I think for the Celtics, what stands out is I think they have the best overall depth of going to the bench and with the going to the bench and with the starters. And I feel like with this team too, that any one person could kind of step up any day. Like Gordon Hayward the last couple of weeks has finally seemed like he got in somewhat of a rhythm. Kyrie, I know with I don't know where his head's at right now, but I feel like with the playoffs too, it's a totally different animal, I think, than the regular season. I feel like in the playoffs you're gonna get Kyrie's best. I feel like you're gonna get Gordon Hayward's best. I feel like you're gonna get all their best, and I feel like if one of those, if Hayward or Kyrie has a rough shooting night in the playoffs, I feel like a Smart kind of steps up, or Terry Rozier or Jason Tatum. I think any one person on the Celtics could have a big night when another guy's kind of slumping. I feel like they can balance each other out, and I really think that's why the Boston will get to the finals. And I feel like they've been the last couple of years they've been wanting to get there, and they have not been able to with LeBron. And I feel like with LeBron gone now, this is their chance, and I feel like they will make that push and get in the finals. But I think they'll lose in 5 to Golden State.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening there. I mean, that'll be interesting to see who ends up going to the finals. The East should be really, really fun to watch.
Oh, yeah,
should be really fun.
It definitely will. Now without LeBron, too, everyone kind of was like LeBron, getting 8 straight, and now it's so wide open with those 4 teams with the Bucks, Sixers, Celtics, and Raptors. It's so wide open for those 4 teams.
Yeah, I would agree there. So we're going to wrap up the show talking about a little bit of college basketball. We'll start with the battle tomorrow night between Duke and North Carolina. This should be a really great game between these 2 teams. I mean, I think in the end Duke wins it with R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson. I think North Carolina can keep it close with Kobe White and Kenny Williams and Cam Johnson, but I think it's a 7-point Duke win because Barrett and Zion are the difference.
Yeah. Zion and Barrett are different. I also think playing at Cameron indoors, Cameron Crazies are going to be rocking with UNC coming out. But both these 2 teams are the top in the country right now scoring. North Carolina scores 87 points per game. Duke just under them at 86. So this is going to be, if you love offense, you love like a good offensive college game, this is the one for you. There's not going to be too much defensive play. I think North Carolina's going to struggle guarding Zion and RJ. I think Luke May will start against Zion, or if they put Nazir Little on Zion, they're going to struggle playing. I also take Krzyzewski over Roy Williams late in the game. So this is going to be a great game. It's going to be very high scoring. But Zion and RJ Barrett, there's just nobody in the country really that could stop those 2 guys unless they're guarding each other.
2 best players in the country.
Oh, they are, unless they're guarding each other. Nobody's able to stop them. They're just so good to get into the paint and they're getting to the rim, scoring.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll pick some games this week in college basketball. We'll start with Louisville going to Syracuse. That's an interesting game, and I think Syracuse pulls the upset with Titus Battle. I think he beats Jordan Nora, and I think Syracuse pulls the upset.
Yeah, it should be another good one. In the Dome, I'm going to take Louisville because Syracuse on Saturday night, Duke's coming back to town. So, I think it's a little bit of a look ahead. I think especially for, I think it'll be a little bit of look ahead. I think Louisville, last couple of games, I know they blew that 22-point lead to Duke last week. I know they held on for dear life against Clemson the other day, but I really like Chris Mack as a coach from coming over from Xavier. This team was supposed to be an NIT team. Jordan Nora has been great. He's, averaging 20 points a game or anything, I think, something like that. He's been playing very well. This has been a really, really good team in Louisville to watch. I feel like they will pull this one out, close one.
Yeah, it should be a really close game. Then we got a nightcap on Wednesday night, Butler and Marquette, and Marcus Howard has been phenomenal for Butler. And for Marquette, and I think he beats, even though Butler's fighting for the NCAA tournament, I think they beat Butler by double digits.
Yeah, it's the Big East right now is pretty much a runaway. It's pretty much between Nova and Marquette right now. Marcus Howard, you haven't seen him play yet. He's averaging, 38 points a game. Right? It's crazy what this kid can do. And the thing is, too, of what I noticed is he hits a 3, and he's not one of those guys that's going to, look up at the crowd and do something fun. He gets back on defense, and he plays hard on defense, which I really, really like. And he's not one of these new guys that's going to start, doing something after he makes a basket. He gets back on D. He's dedicated to that, and that's why I love watching him play because, he's so good, and he's not a big talker. So I do think Marquette wins this by about 9-10 points, I think. But Marquette, and in the tournament, watch out for them with Howard. This is a good team.
Oh, definitely. We'll move on to Saturday's games. We got a big day of college basketball on Saturday. First, we got UVA heading to Louisville. That should be a really good game because you got Ty Jerome, Kyle Guy, DeAndre Hunter, and Virginia heading to Louisville to face Georgia North. 2 big games for Louisville this week. They got at Syracuse and then home to Virginia. Should be a really good game.
Yeah, that should be another good one. So, Louisville with they got a look ahead game too, Louisville. So, yeah, and Virginia, their defense is so good. And people, have talked about, they lost to Duke, but the thing is, it's Duke made shots. If Duke makes shots, nobody in the country is gonna be able to beat them. If they had an off night, Virginia beats them. So their D is so good. Kyle Guy, in Virginia, the thing is this year is they can actually shoot a basketball. Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter. This is Virginia is much better than they were last year. I think they're so great defensively. They can score basketball. I think Virginia does pull this one out. They had a nice one last night against Virginia Tech, their in-state rival, Louisville. So I think they will pull this one out over Louisville. I think Louisville will struggle shooting from the perimeter, and I think they find a way to shut down Jordan Nwora, and I think Virginia will pull it out. Close one.
Another noon game. Tennessee has the LSU to face the Tigers. This is a good game with Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield going up against Connecticut's own Tremont Waters and LSU who upset Kentucky last week.
Yeah, and I think for Tennessee, this is a really big game because now people are back to doubting them after what John Calipari's Kentucky team pretty much made a fool, beat them by 20 points on Saturday night. So. But I love Tremont Waters. This kid, he's already getting like Shabazz Napier comparisons, which is kind of scary being a UConn fan. I think when we go after him, but LSU is very, very good. Will Wade's done a great job at LSU, really turning this program around, and I think LSU will. I think LSU does get them at home. I think late in the game, I think LSU does because Tennessee hasn't been playing their great basketball. I'm interested to see Tennessee playing this week, seeing how they bounce back. But right now, I think LSU will get them. I really like this team. Waters, Nazar Reed, one of the best freshmen in the country. They've been playing really, really well. And I take LSU in this one.
So we got a 8 SEC matchup in Kentucky with Auburn and Kentucky. I think Kentucky wins this by double digits.
Yeah, Auburn really has struggled on the road. Austin Wiley had not been healthy. They lost Musaf Heron, another Connecticut guy, to St. John's. And Kentucky, they're just playing so well right now. Tyler Hero's been great. P.J. Washington, they're playing some great basketball. John Calipari's done a great job from what they were day one, where Duke absolutely smacked them around up in Chicago opening night. So they're in a much better Kentucky right now. They're looking at a 1 seed. Auburn's kind of fighting. They have Auburn and quadrant 1 games right now. They're 1-7. They have 1 road win in Vanderbilt, who hasn't won an SEC game yet. Auburn's centered around their guards, and if their guards are not able to shoot and they have a rough day, they have no shot, and I think they will struggle at Rupp Arena, and I think Kentucky gets them.
We got a Big 12 matchup in down in Texas. We have because Iowa State heads down to TCU, which I think TCU pulls the upset in this game.
This should be a good one. TCU's missing one of their better players who was out. Not 100% sure if he's playing yet, but Jamie Dixon's doing a good job of this program. They lost a tough one last week to Kansas. I thought they were going to be able to win that one. Iowa State right now, Iowa State's got to bounce back. Or they got a nice win against Kansas State the other day. They're fighting to get that Big 12 Conference Championship right now. And I think Iowa State will be able to pull this one off on the road. But it should be a really good one, and I would not be surprised to see TCU knock off LSU, though.
Oh, no way. Got a Big Ten matchup in College Park as Ohio State heads up to Maryland to face the Terrapins. I think Terrapins win this one.
Yeah, I think they do. Ohio State on Sunday at Michigan State were 4 for 21 in the second half and shot had 13 points. They're fighting for their life right now to get to the tournament. This would be a huge one for them. I'm very excited to see the matchup of Campbell Weston and Bruno Fernando. Fernando, one of the best rebounders in the country right now, averaging like a double-double. You got to keep him off the board. Maryland's got to take better care of the basketball. They had 16 turnovers against Michigan on Saturday on the road. They turned it over 13 times in the first half, which really, really hurt them as they were down by 13 to half. Were not able to dig themselves out of that hole. But Archer doing a good job of this program. This was another team that was supposed to be in the IT this year. They're doing a really, really good job, but I think Maryland will pull it out at home.
We got an ACC matchup down in Chapel Hill as Florida State, who's a very deep team, heads up to Chapel Hill to face North Carolina.
This should be another good one. Florida State, 7 straight, and this is really Florida State's last really big test heading. They still have NC State and Virginia Tech, but those are both at home, so they're very winnable games. You know, if they win this game, Florida State's really looking good, mate, for that double bye in the ACC. So this was a huge one. But going to Chapel Hill, and I feel like North Carolina's not going to be able to get it done in Durham on Wednesday night. So I feel like North Carolina bounces back and gets a good one. So I will take North Carolina. I think they have trouble stopping White and Luke May. But it should be a good one. It should be another good one.
Got a big one up at the Carrier Dome as the top-ranked team in the country, Duke, goes up to Syracuse to face the Orangemen, and I think Duke wins this. Close because it's in Syracuse, but I'd say by 7 or 8 points.
Yeah, I think Duke gets revenge on this one. Their only ACC loss of the year. You know, and now that Syracuse is Duke's going to have Trey Jones for this game. They lost him middle of that game, or very early in that game, and they were up 11-2 early, so it was a big loss for Duke that game, but I feel like Zion, RJ Barrett, you know, they're shooting the ball better, so I feel like they're going to be able to hit some threes. They're going to be able to take it down low. Syracuse, you know, Pasquale, down low is not great. He's a big guy, but he's not great down low. Syracuse got Battle. His battles, they're and Frank Howard. They're kind of centered more of their guards, so I feel like Syracuse gonna have a tough time again trying to stop them. They gave up, 80 points or 88 points last time. Syracuse put up 92. I don't feel like Syracuse can put up 92 points this time.
No, I don't think because they upset. They upset.
Yeah.
They won two Gonzaga and Syracuse. One of two Duke's losses this season. So that should be really fun to watch at Syracuse. And then we got the game of the week with Kansas heading down to Lubbock to face Texas Tech. And Jarrett Culver's had a really good year, but Dietrich Lawson's had a really good year for Kansas. Not one of Kansas' best team. They've really struggled on the road this year. That's why I'm taking Texas Tech to win this game over Kansas.
Yeah, I'm taking Texas Tech. Kansas only has 2 road wins. They survived at Baylor after almost blowing an 18-point lead, and they survived an OT at TCU. Kansas has been bitten by the injury bug, and they've also lost one of their top guys to suspension of the big case right now in college basketball. So they don't have ton. They had to take a guy off a red shirt because Miles. They lost another guy. So I think Texas Tech does get this one. Texas Tech is a really good team. They're not as good as Virginia, but they play kind of similar defense to Virginia. They're very good at locking you down. I feel like they will take this game. And they played Duke at the Garden back in December. They forced Duke 23 turnovers, so they're able to turn you over. They played very well against Duke. Watch out for Texas Tech when they get to the dance.
Yes.
It's a good team.
The last game of the weekend, we got the Battle of Michigan. Michigan State heading to Ann Arbor to face Michigan. Should be a really good game. 2 really good teams in the Big Ten. I got Michigan close.
Yeah, I'm going to take Michigan because I don't Michigan State lost another guy, Nick Ward. I don't think he's going to be playing on this against Michigan. But always worries me is Michigan's depth, only really playing 8 guys, and 2 of them don't really play over 10 minutes. So depth is a big issue for Michigan, but I feel like they will be able to pull this one out. And John Test been great down low this year. He's been a big get. Jordan Poole coming back. He's been playing very well. Charles Matthews. This is a good Michigan team. They're very good defensively. They also struggle at times scoring the basketball, so I feel like they will pull this one out close.
All right, it's going to wrap it up this week for Sports Talk with RKJ. I'm Steve Risser, my co-host Justin Nuffrey. We hope Kyle Galuli is back with us next week on All Noise Radio and Quantum TV. Have a great day, everybody.